What's up, everybody? Ballerina hits theaters this weekend, but does it live up to the four John Wick movies that came before it? Let's dive in. Ana de Armas steps into the world of John Wick here, and Ballerina is set between Wick 3 and Wick 4, and she does a damn good job of fitting into the franchise. She's got the weapon handling down, her intensity is believable, and it's not another performance like her one in the movie Ghosted. But I will say, it did seem like she was mixing bits of Keanu into her performance, which that worked for me. It wasn't anything over the top, but it was good. Now, do I think her character Eve is on the same level as John, character-wise? No, and I'd say not even where he was at the end of the first movie, but at the same time, I did not expect her to be, because the best part of John is Keanu's incredibly unique mannerisms and his movements. I never expected that to be matched, and this isn't even to say she's not a good character. She is. She's just a notch below the Great Baba Yaga. But with that out of the way, I want to move to the story of this one because it's another thing, I never expected too much from with this franchise, and I was pleasantly surprised with Ballerina. It's nothing out of this world crazy. It's not going to win an Oscar, but I found it rather compelling. Not as much as, Revenge for a Dog. I love dogs far too much for that to be beat, but it's damn good. I thought they did a nice job spinning the web for it too, having it where Eve and her father are running from this cult only for him to die, to her running into Pine, which this movie absolutely could have used more of Norman Reedus, but her running into Pine, and then his daughter too, which they're in the same boat as they were back then, and then capping it with John coming in and giving her time to finish getting her revenge before he has to do his job. That did end up feeling like a good end for him in this movie, and I do wish we'd spend a little more time with those two because I really like that dynamic when they're against each other, but he's trying to help her out. Maybe the movie would have felt shorter that way too, because that's my only complaint. The first act drags a bit. I thought they should have just shown the sequence with her father at the very beginning where he dies, give her trauma, which that was a phenomenal start to the movie, and then jump to her graduating from a ballerina to assassin. That would have worked just as well in my opinion. Moving on from that, though, I want to touch on the visuals because that's a strong point of the Wick movies for me, especially how they've all been lit, and unfortunately, I was a bit disappointed in that regard here. There were a couple great sequences, the club was cool, and everything with the flamethrower was epic, but outside of those two things, I'm not sure anything here was memorable. Maybe the visuals being inconsistent is a better way to put it, and that actually makes the most sense considering this is a bit of a Len Wiseman's movie, and then a whole lot of Chad Stahelski's movie, the version that he reshot. That's something I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to when I see this movie again because I felt the two different parts, but it wasn't at the forefront of my mind, so it's not what I was thinking about while watching the movie, and it still managed to seep through, so I want to see if I can really see which is which next time. Then before I dive into the action sequences in this movie and how they match up with the rest of the franchise, I want to quickly touch on the soundtrack and sound design. The soundtrack plays great in this movie, but it's not one that I could, necessarily name anything from. It's more so that it's just a great topping or seasoning for the action scenes. The sound design, on the other hand, was just flat out incredible. I saw the movie in Dolby, and it might just be the best part of it with that boost. Like, there's a stretch that started about 30, maybe 45 minutes into the movie, and it just goes on for an hour or so, right up until, the last 30 minutes or so, where it doesn't drop off or anything, but this stretch was just so intense and insane. It's just upping the ante and constantly pulling you into the action. With that being said, let's jump to the action to wrap things up because they were not messing around here. It was great sequence after insane sequence after great sequence for 95% of the movie, and even some of the training that I wish wasn't in the movie had some good stuff mixed in too. Specifically, the part with the fight like a girl thing, which could have easily been an eye-rolling moment, but it actually turned into a pretty funny moment for me when she immediately dings the golden bells on the guy that she's training with. But outside of that moment, I couldn't help but laugh at. There's so much more, like the grenade scene, which might just be the most insane sequence in the John Wick franchise, her axe and knife throwing skills, which they were great throughout the movie, and the rubber bullet to the schlong. It was insane. Oh, and how can I forget about that car sequence with Eve dangling to dodge the bullets? That was on par with the car scene in John Wick 4. So as far as the action's concerned, I'd say it absolutely lived up to the franchise standard, which is a pretty damn high standard, and I'd also say Ballerina just flat out lives up to the other movies in the John Wick franchise with all the intensity and a good dose of revenge. And so that's going to do it for my review of Ballerina. This one's going to land at a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10 for me, but I want to know what you guys thought of the movie, so drop your thoughts down in the comments below and make sure you have a great day.